Here we have an AWS EC2 Linux instance running the Anka Build Cloud controller and registry inside of Docker. Alongside of it, we have a Mac 2 Pro EC2 instance as well. Here's the Anka Build Cloud controller dashboard, and there are currently no active nodes, no running instances, and no capacity. We'll worry about that later. Under the templates section, we currently have nothing as well. If we go to the M2 Pro, we can see that under Anka list, we have several VMs available to push to the registry. Here we're going to specify the Anka registry command. The Anka registry command has the IP address of the registry, the name of the VM, as well as a tag name to give it. We recommend the tag name is clear to indicate what the actual VM contains. This is a vanilla Macintosh installation. Let's go ahead and now push the VM as a template to the registry. Here you can see that it was pushed, and we can now see it under the templates page in the controller. If we run Anka list one more time, we can see that the VM now has a tag. And if we're changing the VM, we can always revert back to the state that the VM was in when we created the tag. Great, so now let's push our other two VMs here as templates and make sure they show up in the registry. These templates are going to have Xcode and Java built into them. Great, so let's go ahead and join our EC2 Mac instance as a node in the controller. We've got the nodes page up in the controller, and we've just now sent the Anka cluster join command. We see that it's active, it has capacity, the version number matches, but now the node is offline. If we go into the nodes page, we can see it's updating. This is an automated updating process to make sure that the agent running on the node that communicates with the controller matches the exact version of the controller. Alright, so we're going to now start a new instance on the node that we just joined. You can see that the node already has one of the templates, and if we create the instance in the controller, it will go from scheduling to started almost instantaneously. This is because it has all the data on the node that it needs. It doesn't need to download anything. Let's go into the node and just double check that the instance is now running. Yep, you can see it running there. And now let's go back and start a second VM instance. And let's use the different Macintosh version template that we have. Now this is going to go from scheduling to pulling. And the pulling may take a while depending on how large the VM template is, and also how fast the network is. Here you can see I have my Jenkins pulled up, and I'm showing that I have the Anka Build plugin installed. The plugin creates a cloud configuration page. I have that pulled up here, and you can see that I am specifying the controller URL. However, it's the Docker internal address. You can see my controller is running on an actual IP address at port 8090, but in the cloud configuration, I have to use the Docker internal address because both of the containers are running right next to each other on the same instance in EC2. If we scroll down, we're going to see the label definitions. Here's the 13.5.2 and here's the 13.6 labels. They actually target the exact VM template in the registry at that version. So we should be able to use this now to spin up ephemeral VMs in our Jenkins job. This job has two different versions. And if we pull up the configuration for one, we're going to see the Jenkins file or pipeline script definition here. In it, you'll see that the agent node targets the label that we want, and then there are the commands to clone, build, start the simulator, install our application, and then launch the simulator. Now let's go ahead and kick off both of the jobs we have and see what happens. In the console output, you're going to see that the node is offline. That's actually because it's still starting. So in the controller, you can see the instances have actually already started for the job, which is great. That's what we want to see. And if we try to VNC into those VMs, We can see that the VMs are running, and we should now be able to wait for the simulators to start. Now the console log is showing that it's connected to the Jenkins node and it's running the commands we want in the VM. And let's go ahead and kick off more jobs now so that we can show the scheduling process in the controller. You can actually see now that we have another VM instance here that is scheduling. It's scheduling because we only have a capacity of 2 because we have one node. If we wanted to be able to run more, we would need to add more nodes to the controller. Great, there we go. The simulator has now started and it's launched our app. And now the second VM simulator has started and it's in a completely isolated environment from the first. If we look at the configuration one more time for the job, we're going to see how simple these steps are. This would be way more complicated if we weren't running in an ephemeral, isolated way inside of VMs.